for the independence.
Oh, people.
Sure.
I don't want the fashion police to find me.
He's on
Got the one? I hope so.
Thank you. All right, and before we get started, everybody wants to say the pledge, please. That's not fine.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we are just sorting out some technical stuff, folks, and then we'll get this meeting underway. And his ID, yes. Is Mark background? There is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I think we have formed the room. Why don't I call the meeting to order? Welcome everybody to the second annual meeting for 2025 of EGPOA. We will ask for inspectors or vote counters. If I could have two folks in the room who raise their hand and volunteer to help Nick. I think it literally involves looking at a computer screen and maybe one piece of paper. Bob, anybody else? There we go. Perfect. Yeah. All right. So we're going to go a little out of order. Oh yeah, call the roll. Thank you. Ask Secretary to call the roll. Here.
Alana.
Here.
Joel. Here. Ken.
He's on Zoom.
Ken's on Zoom.
He's okay, cool. Leslie.
Here.
Mark, see you on Zoom. Dan.
Here.
She is not going to be. Well, I think she'll
She's
try
on
to
the later. She's on.
hang on a minute.
Alex.
Here.
Sarah.
Here.
Favorite four.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to take the agenda a little out of order this morning because Mark has a hard stop to spend some time with his grandkids, which I think is a great excuse. So we're going to move the Lakes Committee report up to the very first item. There's also a voting item there. So Mark, turn it over to you to take it away. And this is
Okay.
80 of board books, board members.
I got the email last night from Dan, and based on the email last night, I don't believe we need to take a vote because the water company is going to is pursuing this, and that the law is the law, and the water company is going to enforce whatever the law is.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody based on what we got last night?
Sure. It's your call. If you're withdrawing it, that's fine. We can certainly.
Well, I don't know. Is there a need for a vote because of that? I mean, if there's a need for a vote, I'll go for it and I'll explain what's going on, but I'm sure everybody knows by now.
I mean, that's up to you. I don't know whether there's a need for a vote or not.
Dan, you want to chime in?
I don't, in my view, I don't necessarily see a need to react or for the board to have a position because it seems that the water company is the one tasked with monitoring water and ensuring that it's compliant. So
Just to be clear, because I don't know if we're being cryptic to everybody else, but we're talking about a proposed ban on toxic pesticides and herbicides to be replaced with natural tree oils. That's the proposal that the Lakes Committee put forward. But I think Dan's saying under New York State law that EGLLM is required to, I guess, patrol the, I don't know how you put it, Dan, but to enforce bans on things like toxic pesticides and herbicides from getting into the waterways, and that there are mechanisms through that state law, including the Department of Health, where that could be more helpful than perhaps, say, a rule that an HOA makes.
yeah, I'll read the text of the law. It says no herbicides, pesticides, or toxic chemicals shall be discharged, applied, or allowed to enter into Lake Louise Marie or any reservoir or watercourse unless a permit to do so has been obtained from the appropriate state agency having jurisdiction. Herbicides shall mean any substance used to destroy or inhibit plant growth. Pesticide shall mean any substance used to destroy pests such as rodents or insects. And toxic chemicals shall mean any compound or substance which is or may be poisonous to humans. So essentially, New York and the Department of Health has already determined what that looks like. So the water company's tasked with following up on that.
Okay, so with that context and explanation, Mark, are you satisfied on behalf of the Lakes Committee that you don't need to put this forward?
I'm satisfied with that. The only thing I'd like the community to know is that there are alternatives. And what we're talking about are those yellow signs that we see out on the lawn that sprayed those toxic chemicals that can run off into our lake. So there are alternatives, and that's all I want the community to know.
Okay. All right, anything else from the Lakes Committee before you have to jet?
We are working on planting survey that is supposed to go out in the next week or so. It is just a survey to find out how many homeowners would be interested in this for planting along the shoreline so that we could help mitigate the runoff.
Okay. And on that, I owe, and I will take care of it today, Mark, you and your planting subcommittee, an introduction to Homegrown National Forest, a client of mine. So we'll make that happen today.
We're looking forward.
All right. Thanks very much. Go enjoy your grandkiddos.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Okay, so we're going to return to regular order of the agenda. Do we have results? Yes. Okay. We'll announce the results of the second annual meeting, which is the 2026 operating budget and the 3 bylaw amendments proposals. Chris.
Okay, on the proposed operating budget for 2026, we received 271 votes, all but one of which was electronic. There were 207.5 votes in favor of the budget and 63.5 votes opposed to the budget. The operating budget proposed by the board passes. On the 3 bylaws amendments, we received 268 votes in total on the bylaws amendments. All but one of those was electronic. On the first amendment, first proposed amendment to clean up and clarify bylaws language, that received 232.25 votes in favor and 35.75 votes opposed. That's an approval rate of 86.7%. That amendment passed. On the proposed changes to the existing transfer fee structure, that proposed amendment received 184.75 votes in favor and 83.25 votes opposed. That percentage is 68.9% in favor. The proposed changes to the transfer fee structure are passed. On the updates to the minimum thresholds for member approvals, this included capital spending as well as other items. 170.5 votes in favor and 97.5 votes opposed. That's a 63.6% approval rate. That proposed amendment failed.
All right. Thank you to everybody who voted and for folks who attended our town halls and such.
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat the numbers for me for the minimum threshold, please?
May I just pass you a piece of paper?
Yeah, why don't we?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
No, okay. Moving on. Thanks, Chris. So moving on in our agenda. And by the way, sorry, folks. We were meant to have our Congressman Josh Riley join us this morning. The Congressman had to postpone. He had actually had some personal stuff to take care of this weekend. So he was unable to join us, but we will have him in for a district update at some point. We'll also invite, as we do, our other elected officials for a district update over the course of the year. So sorry about that, but we'll have Josh in sometime in the spring, I hope.
It's 2:30.
Okay, moving on to the next voting item, approval of the minutes from our October 19th meeting. Anybody have any questions on those? If not, can I get a motion?
Almost.
Great, a second.
I'll second.
Awesome. All in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. All right, we'll move on to the management report. Board members tab 2 of the report book. Thanks, Nick, for putting together a written update. That's very helpful. Take it away.
Okay, any questions on the written update? None? Okay, in there also, we have submitted a proposed change or a new change for pool house rental rules. This came about, as, we had some folks that wanted to rent the clubhouse, however, there was an event taking place in the clubhouse, so the clubhouse was not available. We offered the pool house second floor to them, as an option. We needed something quick. I made some changes to the existing clubhouse rental agreement. I'd like the board to formally ratify it, so it's an official document of the EGPOA going forward. So I've proposed that and put that here in front of you for formal ratification. So that's here now, and happy to go over any questions you have on it.
I think, not sure exactly why we didn't do that prior. I mean, that could have been income projected over the years, so.
In the past, I guess it had been utilized. I'm not sure. There was no agreement that I'm aware of, and I'm not sure if we collected a fee or not, but I guess folks had used it for events, from what I'm told.
Were you told that by?
Valerie, and by homeowners.
So how would that work from an hours perspective? I mean, we would only rent it out when it's not otherwise being used in the summertime.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. And the second floor generally is not utilized for.
Right, so this is only for the second floor.
Correct.
Did we buy additional furniture to bring furniture over to that place for the party?
We did not.
So how did you organize the furniture rentals between the party rental and the,
So it wasn't that it wasn't that there was a party rental in both locations. The issue that we had here was the breathing event was taking place and they could not set up and do both events at the same time.
So there was.
so it's a
tables and
preference?
chairs.
Wasn't a preference. They couldn't, in order to prepare for their event, they couldn't.
Did we
be
move
set up.
the event the week before to the clubhouse here, to the entertainium for that purpose, for setup?
We moved the event, which event the week before?
There was a clubhouse event that the yoga was moved the week prior to the second floor of the entertainium so that they could set up early.
That was free for the EGPOA event.
No, that was for a home.
I have to go back and look at the schedule.
Okay, I just am curious, because in this case, it was a whole new rental space that was opened up. And the yoga was moved previously, so we didn't get the request to move the breathing space up there with the meditative workshop. So I'm just confused why that same procedure wasn't used this time.
My knowledge is they needed to set up beginning Friday, so that was,
Yeah, that was the case.
so we would have had to move yoga and
Right, but I was under the impression that yoga got moved 2 weeks before as well.
yoga got moved 2 weeks before. My understanding was that was a larger event. So I think my understanding when Val came to me about this event was that there was an event in the evening. I later came to know that it was the breathing and the yoga was what was going to coincide with it. So rather than move both, we just moved this over there.
I guess I'm just trying to get to, I don't think it's a bad idea to open it up, but the space was rented out. I guess just me personally, I think the change of agreement that generally comes before the board without having the board have eyes on it, because what had happened was I reported as a security issue. I thought that somebody broke into the building and I called you on a Saturday and said, is there a party? And I just, if it was available, I just don't like to give the impression to homeowners that special favors are given if they, no, I'm just saying, but in the case of what had happened and the policy that was used just 2 weeks prior to that, they were given, yoga was moved. So is it that I want to get to the core of the problem, is that people want the space available on Friday? Does yoga need a new place?
Yoga needs a new place, because here's why. We're tying up an asset that we could rent out on Fridays, on Saturdays, on Sundays. We're tying it up for yoga, and in many cases, yoga, which we're paying for, is tying up our ability to rent a building out that we could be monetizing and also making available to homeowners, where we could be recouping our costs to operate that building. And yoga's issue is twofold. One, they're too big sometimes for the second floor of the West Wing. And two, there's the accessibility issue. And folks have complained if we ask yoga to go to the West Wing or to the pool building second floor, because there are some individuals that have difficulty navigating the steps. So we have a yoga problem. They don't like going in the entertainium first floor because one, sometimes it's too loud. Two, other folks want to utilize that for basketball and other events during the time of yoga. So we have a yoga problem. One of the conversations we've talked about is making yoga a limited size class where there's a sign. I don't know if that comes out of activities and community events, and maybe that's something that we have to talk about with them as a group. I don't know if we make yoga a paid for event or a contributory event, where if we're going to offer that, homeowners contribute to that class, and then maybe that might deter the size of the class potentially. But I think we need to really evaluate yoga. We have 2 weeks of it left, I believe, until spring. I think there's 2 more weeks of it. So I think we really need to evaluate that, because it's one of those things, we're paying for it, but it's inhibiting the use of the clubhouse, especially on Fridays and most Saturdays.
Yeah,
Do we have a monthly or an annual cost for yoga? Maybe something,
$100 a class.
well,
We have
over
a
the year,
breakdown of all.
over the year, how much is it costing?
Take your weeks, and then whatever weeks that they don't do,
I'm just
52.
trying to figure out mathematically, if we're paying that amount of money for yoga, and my understanding is we have maybe 7 or 9
30 in the summer, 30 to 40 in the summer.
Some of
Wow.
it's one of our most popular offerings.
Water aerobics and yoga get 30 to 40 people
in the summer.
in the summer,
Yoga is 20 in the winter.
20 in the winter.
Well,
Can I just say, when I make a comparison, when we have an event, usually we get between 20 and 50 people also. So it is a popular thing, time over time, that gets utilized.
and so on a given week, there's 20 people in the yoga class.
Margaret participates.
You were there with 20 people? So there's 20 people. And we're basically paying for,
As an amenity, people
That-
pay for services here as amenities, yes.
at the same time, we're not getting the availability of the clubhouse for any sort of rental.
We are, they just go in after yoga, which has always been a management thing. We've talked to previous management about this. It's management's decision to
I'm
find the space
not
where.
gonna get defensive on it.
I'm not.
saying,
Just
it's
explaining.
not available for rent for somebody to do birthday or whatever that might look like. A lot of birthdays happen on those
Mhm.
days, so if that's not available, then what is it that we expect to be available to rent?
Oh,
Or
I'm
home.
just getting at my questions were getting
No,
at
I'm
the core of the
saying
problem.
all right, guys, hang on, you're going back and forth, let me recognize
Hold on.
Alex.
Hold on, I wasn't finished on that point, though. Your question was the preferential treatment of a homeowner, but if we're saying that homeowners don't have the ability to rent the clubhouse because of yoga, then I'm guessing we're also saying that yoga is the preferred treatment as well.
Oh, because this came up before in the rental agreement, which I had a problem with the fact that yoga was in there years ago, because it's confusing to people who rent the space. They brought that up to oversight committee. We noted that management decided that it was the best place for size purposes. So you're just dealing with two problems at once and trying to make a
Is
decision.
it possible?
You're
that
not renting the space. You're providing a start and an end time.
Is it possible that yoga can fit upstairs?
No, not with a class size of 20. That's the
Okay.
problem. Anything over about 12, you run into a problem in the West End.
We could look at putting a lift in the entertaining and the pool house. That is not, we've never looked at the cost of that.
I don't see how that space is much larger than.
It's house length.
Okay,
They use-
Alex,
good.
How about if we are, if we go by the time? Yoga could start 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning, and you could rent We have an event here right now that the guys couldn't get here until yoga.
Yeah, one of the troubles
It's
is
set up for that.
it also handcuffs us on the night before, so folks wanna rent the clubhouse on Friday nights, right? And you can't rent the clubhouse on a Friday night and then have the clubhouse ready Saturday morning, or if somebody has, let's say, a wedding or a large gathering they wanna set up for them there.
Right.
That's the trouble. So one of the things I think we really just have to do, and we have some time, right now is a really good time to do it. Cause yoga ends for quite a bit, like maybe a month or two now, is that I think we just can dive deep into this over the next, 4 to 6 weeks and figure out where yoga should go. The possibility is that it might have to move to the entertainium on Saturday mornings. And that time slot has to be locked out. And
But that's your call.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I still think it's a good idea that we also make the second floor of the pool house available for smaller parties and gatherings for folks, because it could be a good space for that.
Chris?
I motion to approve.
I just want to mention. Before,
Yeah.
pool house rental, is that gonna be a seasonal thing?
It will be seasonal or after hours when the pool would be clean.
Okay, but that's like as someone who used to go upstairs in the bar to go back downstairs, I feel like that's gonna be we're going to the bathroom and I'm not swimming.
Will you have the same issue of setup with people setting up while the pool house is open?
Correct.
So people are we not allowing homeowners to then utilize that are you like closing it off?
Well, we really don't have anything on the second floor for homeowners now. So other thing, there was a foosball table up there,
There's a couple pieces of exercise equipment.
which we've
Moved.
decommissioned, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna second Chris's motion. Not closing debate. Getting that out there.
So we would work out the logistics of that, but if it were the case that it were going to be in service, it would still be, after hours when the pool is open.
Call the question?
I have questions.
Okay.
Okay, since that was not designated as a rental space, I have safety concerns, I think we only have one stairwell up,
You
not a
know,
secondary point of exit.
there is a emergency exit stairwell out of the back of that, has to be.
Out of the back of,
The back of the second floor has an egress stairwell that goes out of the back.
It's just literally the opposite side of the store.
where one of the locked doors is?
Oh, I don't think it's locked.
It's not locked where you can
Yeah,
exit,
it's
you can always
It's
exit.
a closed door.
Okay, do we have because your rental agreement doesn't have a max capacity? Is there a max capacity if that's been configured?
Not for the purposes of the agreement, but we will end up having, because the building has its own capacity. So if you go by the building capacity, but we'll have a limit on what you can rent to up there.
Should we put that into both of them since there are max capacity for both spaces? Just as a note for people to understand.
Yeah, we should say that your party cannot exceed this amount.
Mhm.
So are we asking to amend it?
I think the management can just,
We will amend it once we know what that capacity is. I don't know that off the top of my head at the moment, but I will get that number and we will
And then just in
footnote it on the document.
terms of long-term planning, since it's a party space now and there's carpet up there, what's like we'll probably have to replace that carpeting on a more consistent basis, and we would have to probably buy a vacuum cleaner to
We
clean
have,
the space
we have vacuum cleaners now that we clean the space with.
up there.
The only thing that we may have to do, which we would do anyways, is we have to steam clean that rug on a more frequent basis, but if you note in there, it applies the same rules that, they have to take care and caution not to dirt the space unnecessarily, and if there is any additional cost, they'll be responsible for that. So if we have to steam clean it because they, pour 4 or 5 gallons of soda on the floor or smash frosting into the rug, they're gonna be responsible for that.
good. Okay. So we'll call the question. All in favor of the amended rental agreement? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
I have.
2 abstentions. The motion passes. Okay, next proposal to reduce the minimum age for the exercise room or gym. Nick, do you want to tee this up?
So this came up through some conversation, initially Patrick and I were discussing it. And there's been some requests. There are young individuals in the community that participate in sports teams and have asked to be able to use the gym in the entertainium, no different than they could go and purchase a membership at Planet Fitness, let's say. So we have contacted the insurance brokers. They reached out to the carriers. The carriers have no opinion on this matter, other than to say, as long as you are providing for it in your waiver, we have no concern about liability here. I looped Patrick in on the conversation with the brokers. I'm comfortable with their position on it. I believe Patrick did as well. So I wanted to bring it to the board for a conversation, and see what the position and opinion of the board was.
And just to be clear, there was no set age that,
Yeah, they actually had no position.
yeah,
on
so
it,
if we
but
want to
just
set
kind
it
of
at
followed
whatever we
what-
want, you can do that.
Yeah, I think we just called it supervised and unsupervised.
Yeah, we used kind of what the Planet Fitness model
Yeah.
was, just because we needed something to show them, because we didn't have a baseline.
And the rationale is, look, I mean, we want to promote fitness, and have things for the younger members of our community to be able to use. And I think that was kind of always the thinking when we opened that space up, was if we could get to a place where we're comfortable allowing that. We couldn't in the beginning because we weren't sure what the usage was gonna look like. And it was a little trickier, but I think we're at a place now where it's a good idea to do it. What that age should be, I don't know, I rely on the experts of this kind of thing. I don't know if it's 16, 14. What was Planet Fitness? Are they 13?
13 and 14 is with adult supervision, 15 and 16 is with consent of
Right.
or 16 is, sorry, 16 and 17 and 14 and 15 is with supervision. So 17 and 16 is common.
Just then, do they get a card then?
They would have a card of their own to access that space, yes,
I mean, my 15-year-old uses Planet Fitness on his own without.
without any.
Yeah.
You're just activating
So the
their
16,
key tags.
Yeah, Beverly, go ahead.
yeah, I'm sorry. So the 16-year-olds would be able to access independently, and then if they were 14 and 15, they would still need a parent to come in with them for
Correct.
supervision.
They would need a person over the age of 18 in the household, yes.
Okay,
So if they had
all
an
right.
older
So
brother.
their cards
their
wouldn't be
friend.
active to be able to get in on their own. It's only going to be for 16 and older that they'll be able to access independently.
Correct,
Which
with the waiver signed by the parent.
Which we currently do for the
Okay.
pool, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's
And it's
fine.
13 for the
The
entertainment.
gym space, not the exercise room, but yeah, the basketball courts and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah, I think
So,
Are we prohibiting with supervision kids under? Or no, we're still staying with,
So the proposal, the ask is 16 and 17 with parental consent. Signed in the office can have access. 13, 14, 15 accompanied by an adult from the household.
so
From the household, not a
Correct,
friend.
not a
that's
friend,
related.
not a.
so an 11 or 12-year-old probably doesn't belong in there, I think is kind of the,
Right,
General
anyone
thinking.
under 13 does not belong in the gym yet.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
I think so my concern coming from kind of an education and supervision perspective is I don't have a problem with 13, 15-year-olds using the fitness center if they're properly accompanied by an adult in their household. I think my concern is how kids actually behave. And I'm imagining, it's not difficult for me to imagine a 16-year-old letting their younger sibling into the fitness center, that younger sibling being injured and us having a bigger liability issue. Like this is like, there's kids, like they're gonna make dumb decisions like that. And I'm just worried. I think it makes sense from a Planet Fitness perspective when you have a manned entrance at all times where you're controlling an access point, makes total sense. I think just like kids are gonna be kids. They don't even have to be up to no good. Like I'm just worried about, or like, just a group of friends hanging out in the entertainment, which is a wonderful thing, and we see that all the time, and just an underage, a minor, let's say a minor friend who is younger, and then something bad happens unintentionally, like, have we just thought through that issue?
Well, that, I think our waiver covers that, right? So that's something we've envisioned in all these scenarios, particularly take the basketball court, for example, when we lowered that to 13, we had that similar concern about even folks who are outside the community, so to speak, right? Members bringing in non-members because they can, right? To bring a certain number of guests. And I think we did try to cover that in our waiver. Because, yeah, you're wrong, you can't literally police every single one of those.
Good thing I
Maybe guest limit in the entertainment. We
Three,
only have the pool. I think
Three.
that came up.
entertaining was 3.
Yeah,
We
it's,
changed that
Mhm.
officially. Okay.
So you feel like it's buttoned up in the way?
do.
So you don't feel that it's appropriate to have younger kids in there, exercising with their parents under their supervision?
I guess, Dan, what are you comfortable with? What would you say?
Listen, I have kids that know how to use the equipment better than adult people that live here.
Okay.
So why should they be prohibited?
Well, there is a difference between having an adult with a 13 or 14-year-old and having a 16-year-old with a 13-year-old. I would, it's my opinion.
Right, yeah, our proposal is that they be accompanied by an adult in the household.
Right now, it stands that anyone under the age of 18 must be supervised.
Anyone under the age of.
Right now,
is that,
no one under the age of 18 is permitted at the gym.
No,
Yeah, that's our policy.
Well, that's not what's happening, just. for
Yeah, I was
information.
gonna say, I've definitely brought
no,
my 16-year-old in there before and my 9-year-old in there before.
we hacked it out. They have.
I've seen children in there with their parents, not
Right.
children unaccompanied ever. I've never seen that.
Right,
Even the
right.
signage.
With their parents, they're always fine. It's just that I'd be worried about having a 16 or 17-year-old with.
Yeah, we're not proposing a 16 or 17-year-old bringing in a minor or their brother.
I
or
think you
sister.
have cameras that can see if a 16-year-old lets a younger sibling in with them, and you can revoke their privileges. You can put that as a clause or something.
Yeah,
And
mean-
you have to define what an adult is.
Anyone, I guess a responsible adult over the age of 18 or an adult over the age of 18 in the household. Chris's concern is when we're not physically watching and the 16-year-old brings the 13-year-old in and that 13-year-old gets hurt, do we have liability? And Patrick believes, and I believe he's correct, that as long as we properly waiver that, when the parent signs off, they're acknowledging that that's not our fault. It's not a negligent
Yeah.
act on our part.
and
We
to
have
be clear, I'm
security.
not giving legal.
It's not giving legal
I'm
advice.
not giving
it's
legal
saying
advice on the waiver. We did review it with our late counsel.
So, yeah, just to clarify, just clarify what the board has approved. In our February 2024 meeting, Dan, this was your motion. We approved lowering the minimum age requirement for the entertainment and the outdoor courts, explicitly excluding the pool and the fitness center to 13. That motion passed. But it did not cover explicitly did not cover age limits on the fitness center.
However, in the fitness center rules and waiver, Dan, I think you're right. No one under the age of 18 may use the fitness center without being accompanied by a parent or guardian. The parent or guardian must sign this form on behalf of the minor.
Okay. So we're really changing is allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to be unaccompanied. That's what this change is.
I just don't want us to get away from the position that if we're doing.
Yeah.
If we have parents that can properly supervise their kids doing activities,
Yeah,
why would we stop that?
And to your earlier question, I think we're looking to prohibit people, right? We want to encourage fitness and people to
That was my
work
only.
out, right?
So Dan, you're basically what you're suggesting is that we approve the a narrower scope motion and approve simply allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to use the fitness center without adult supervision. Does that? Maybe we'll make that motion.
Yes, I would make that exact motion.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Great. Call the question, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, that motion passes. Okay. Nick, anything else from you?
That is it on the.
Thank you very much. Ken, we're going to move on to the review of our October 2025 Treasurer's Report. That's tab 4 of your board members, as well as a summary of our accounting invoices from 24-25. That's tab 5. And then Ken will talk about sample equity reporting, tab 6. Ken?
Yes. Hi, everybody. First thing, let's go over the invoices. Did everyone review the summary? I had an Excel spreadsheet that I sent out to the board. And clearly, if you look at the summary, the services they're providing don't justify the fees that we're paying. I've reached out to several auditing firms, more than several, and I've narrowed it down to 3 or 4 auditing firms that I want to interview with before I even present this to the board. So I'll keep the board in touch with that. Is there any questions over the Excel spreadsheet at all? I just wanted to specify what the charges were for. So I made this spreadsheet up.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for doing this. This is something that's been kind of, at least for me, gnawing at me because it's a huge expense and I never understood why we expend that much money. Dan?
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Great job putting that together. Thank you, Ken. Is there a timeline that you think that we can have this wrapped up and a potential new,
Yes, definitely going to have new auditors next year, if everything goes the way it's going. And by the next meeting, I should have the fund balances straightened out so that it ties out with the assets. I'll have to, when I'm done, you'll see the method to my madness, how the fund balance should look.
when you say new auditors by next year, are you talking about new accounting or just the accounting firm doing the auditing?
The accounting firm, we're going to change accounting firms if things go the way I want it to go.
Yeah.
Which will substantially reduce our fees. I have a number in mind. We'll have to see what the auditors come in with. But just to go over one thing, like the $18.25 a month, I put down below the Excel spreadsheet what they were doing for $18.25 a month. It's conferences and works related to the preparation of financial documents for the month, including review of budgeted expenses, recording of fund balance, blah, blah, blah. Nick and I do that every month anyway. They're not doing anything that we're not doing. So I don't know, and they're not making any changes, or they're not clarifying anything for us, or finding any mistakes that are in the financial statements. So I don't know what they're doing for that monthly fee. But Nick, if they try and charge us again for that monthly fee, let me know, and I'd like to talk to them about that because I don't want to be charged for that.
And one last point to this, Ken, whatever decision you make or whatever path you're on, just please communicate with us because from the water company side, we may, want to go the same route. So.
Oh, I'm going to keep everybody in tune. I'm certainly not going to pick an auditing firm myself. I'm going to present my what I have to the board this month. It'll be an ongoing process, and I'll keep everybody included.
Well, that way we can speak to them about what it looks like on the water company side.
Right. Okay.
Just for context, if I can just interrupt for a second, Ken, so that the community is aware, the total amount we spent in 2024 for accounting and auditing services was $76,544, 21,900 of which was the monthly accounting services that Ken just mentioned that are vague enough. The audit for 2024, 49,161. That is absurd.
Of a budgeted line amount of 18,000.
That is absurd. I mean, it's my opinion to be clear, but I think we're getting ripped off. All right.
That includes your
Tax returns.
Yeah, so I don't want to.
No, that's different. Actually.
No, it's the same group.
It's the same grouping.
Same grouping.
Well, okay.
So on the tax returns, year end work.
Not
like
making it
$800.
any better, but.
Yeah. All right, sorry, Ken, I interrupted.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
this is, no, Pat, you're right, it's absurd. It's so out of line. So anyway, I'll keep everybody informed where I'm at with that as I'm going along. I'm certainly not going to make any decision myself.
Right.
That's not where I am. The other thing is I just made a basic engineering report. It's something I drew from I had an engineering report a few years back, just to show you what an engineering report really supposed to look like, the progress of the report itself. In other words, if you look at that report, you'll see that every year, as the reserve grows, we can follow that. As the fund balances are right now, we can't follow what's going on. We know that we have $800,000 sitting ready to do the asphalt and whatever else we have to do. But if you look at the reports, there's nothing in there stating what we're going to do or what we're going to do in the future. We should have supplemental schedules, things tying out where if someone looks at it, you read it like a book, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. So that's what I'm in the middle of doing right now.
Great. Good.
Okay.
And to complement that, we're also still working on the scope of work that will go out to several local engineering firms to bid on providing us with capital needs assessment report, which hasn't been updated since what year was that? I think 2004.
2004.
Right, and I think Alana's going to address that. We had a meeting last week where Alana was very helpful in putting things together, and I think we're really going to get somewhere with this. I don't have Nick. Do you have the final variance report?
I have the notes on it here, so if there's any questions on the variances of the financials for October, I can go over them. I didn't send it out because that was when I left early on Thursday.
Was it a 4 or 5 week pay period?
October was a 5-week pay period. It was a 5 Friday month.
Okay, so this is tab 4, the monthly financials. Anybody have questions for Ken or Nick?
And if you have any questions, you can always email me too throughout the, or call me. Anytime.
Are you no longer getting the reconciliation report with our financials?
And did you hear that?
No.
Are we no longer getting the bank reconciliation and the aged receivables report? We've been getting that the last few months.
The bank recon.
Oh yeah, if that wasn't included. Nick does the bank recs, so.
Okay.
Wasn't that the thing that the account?
The state, you don't get the statements, but you get the
That was,
bank recs you can
but
get.
that was included in the communication.
No, the accountants, I don't believe ever did bank recs. I think that was done by Brittany before Nick came in, and now Nick does.
The recs would come with the statements. We have the recs. The bank
recs and the bank statements. I know, I'm saying that it was a shared communication regarding both of those.
And yes, send the age receivables to you as well.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I want to circle, I know this is last month, I asked it last month, and you answered it, but I just want to go back to it. Last month I asked you about Greylock Electronics, it was like a $10,000 line item, and you said it was for security cameras. Can you add color to that?
Sure. We replaced 6 cameras in the pool house building, we replaced cameras at the exterior of the pool itself, and we replaced cameras here at this building.
We need to, were
They were dead.
They were dead.
Correct.
And were those cameras previously purchased through East Tech, and that's just, so is Greylock our new service provider?
For our cameras, yes.
But not for,
Security, not for security, they're not.
so cameras, okay, did we enter into a contract with Greylock?
No.
No, okay.
So
we were not recording anything in any of the buildings when they were dead?
We were recording some in the buildings, but we were not recording all. So those cameras were not recording because they were dead. And we only had about 28 days of recording. We now record about 65 days because they updated the drives when they were here as well.
Dan?
Alana brings up something that I thought about as well. Is there the intention that we're gonna switch from East Tech on the alarm?
On the alarm servicing,
Yes.
there is a possibility. We're reviewing contractors now.
Okay.
We're trying to find a contractor that can do the Dormax system for us. Because Honeywell is proprietary in their distribution area. We're having a little bit of trouble finding a Honeywell distributor that will come in and do
You're
that.
getting those trouble signals on the fire thing. So,
Failure to communicate here on TV.
yes, I'm wondering if maybe getting a new, Would allow-
We've asked them to fix that, they still haven't been able.
Yeah, so that's what it.
Doesn't mean we're not being monitored, it's just there's a failure.
Yeah.
It comes in.
It comes in.
Are they a local company?
Greylock is out of Ulster County. Company that I've worked with in the past, they're also connected to the computer company that has provided us our computer service, for about the last 8 months or so, in terms of our backup service. Advanced computing, or which is now CMI Tech. They came in and did our backup of our emails for us.
Okay. Other questions?
I think it's actually germane. But so I don't have the charge in front of me. It's a $10,000 charge. Is that it's $10,000 expenditure? Cameras?
No, I don't think it was 10 flat, and some of it
The
actually,
Luxbury lock,
Yeah, what's the number?
10,273.20. It was two separate, one for 7,873.20 and one for 2,400. One was 1 month, one was another month.
some of that actually, though, is not all of us, and that actually gets paid back through the exchange account, because it's being reimbursed for the water company. Because some of those were not our invoices.
I'm thinking through a kind of procedure here
Mhm.
that that threshold of expenditure would normally require a board vote to approve. Even if it's in a budgeted category. So I'm just wondering kind of how we got to that expenditure. This is section 5, article 16, the bylaws. Threshold is $2,500. Even if it's part of the previously approved budget.
Hold on a second, because I want to see which invoices they were, because some of these, as I said, were billed to us, but actually were water company invoices that are reimbursed by the water company.
We paid $7,000 for the cameras that didn't work. So it sounds about,
I think we have to look and see. Hold on.
All right, I think the point being, you gotta be mindful of the threshold. Okay, other questions on the financials?
Hold on. Just to follow up, because I didn't know that something, so how would we're looking at our reporting, and you said that has to get reimbursed by, how would we be able to understand what I still cannot actually, hold on, let me rephrase that. I'm confused why we're paying for water company stuff through our stuff and then getting reimbursed. Why isn't it like a separate billing?
Because sometimes, as in the past, a bill will slip through and get paid by the wrong account. And then we get reimbursed by the water company. Or the water company gets paid through the exchange account. So in this case, I have to take a look. I believe we actually got reimbursed last month on the cameras. I have to go through and find it. But if you give me a minute, I'll find that specific item and see where the camera charges ended up. Because as I said, I think one of those invoices was a water company invoice.
820 and 929.
And Gal processed it. It might have came out of the POA by mistake, because when they billed it to the POA. Just give me a second, I'm pulling it up right now.
I'm also not trying to make a thing out of it, I'm just. As Patrick said, just wishing for attention to that process, that's it.
All right, while you look at for that, does anybody have anything else, anything for Ken? Oh, hearing none, okay. Why don't we tee up the water company update? And then we can just circle back in.
What's that?
He'll give you the answer in a few moments. I just want to keep our meeting going, so
Yep.
we'll move on to the water company update. And then Dan, after you give your update, we're gonna move the homeowner questions and comments up to that area, because I'm sure folks are gonna have some questions for you as well. And also, we've pretty much done almost all of our committee reporting anyway, so.
Yeah, great. So essentially, we'll start with the capital project. So we're still continuing to work on the capital project for the water plant. What I have is some documents we're putting together so we can, retouch on it with the water users when we do our meeting on Wednesday. Just to break everything down on what needs to be upgraded and what replacements we have in store for the capital project, other than just phase one. But essentially, there's a lot of replacements that are going to happen. We're going to replace 3 distribution pumps. We're gonna replace 4 clear well pumps. We're gonna replace 3 raw water pumps. We're gonna replace the existing pressure tank with 2 expansion tanks. We are going to add a 500,000 gallon storage tank to the property up behind the Red House. We're going to add in-network pressure regulators, one on the low side of the system, which is North Emerald, and then one pressure regulator that's gonna be on the high side on Piccadilly. Users probably are already aware that there is an opportunity on the elevated side of the system close to Mr. Tucker, and Chris Loomis, anybody on the Piccadilly side, would see reduced pressure because of the way that the elevations are in the system. The VFD pumps that we're gonna replace in the distribution side would help correct some of that, but the pressure regulators for the engineers are really going to be the overall solution necessary to fix that. Other than that, as users are aware, we did just complete our oil advisory that we had. There was a series of events that took place last week. It started off with an air blockage going from one of the distribution pumps or clear well pumps, and then going into the storage tank, and it created a whole mayhem. And then after that, everything was operating for about an hour or so, and then the one of 3 distribution pumps went down. There's a little bit of a serious issue that went on in the plant when that happened. Lightning bolt went across the plant as that pump shut down. Our emergency services came out. They were able to take parts off of a pump that's been down now for over 3 years. For whatever reason, we'll leave that where it lies. Took parts off of one pump to put into pump number 2, or pump B as we call it, to get that pump operational. That pump was not operating at 100%. Because it was not operating at 100% is why we had to continue the boil advisory, because it was not getting full pressure out to the elevated areas of the system like Piccadilly and everything else like that. So we were able to get another technician out, and they were able to make some adjustments on pump B in the interim. And they got that pump operating at 100% while that pump was holding, steady and everything else going from there. We did send out pump C or pump 3 for a full rebuild, and we got that back, and we're anticipating getting that back operational for the first time in 3 years in the next couple days. But though we are expending and providing resources for those pumps will ultimately, as I said, all be replaced by VFD pumps in the capital upgrade project. So that will basically cover pretty much everything going on from there. Other than that, we just got a lot going on with the capital, trying to get that finalized, and we have a notice that's gonna go out to all users. We will be, as Mark suggested, sending out a notice to remind everybody what the policies are and what the laws say regarding compliance for pesticides and phosphates. So please check your emails on Thursday, because that notice, I'm asking Nick to make sure we get that out on Thursday. So that's the water company.
And again, I'll see if board members have any questions for Dan. Homeowners, you can go to the water company meeting Wednesday.
Wednesday.
At 4 p.m. And that notice will go out soon. Okay, any board member questions for Dan? Lana?
Thanks for the updates. Just can you remind me of the time, like, I know you don't have a definitive timeline in place for when the project is starting, but just can you remind me of the sequential steps? It's bonding, once bonding ends, then rate case, then when that takes like 6 months-ish, and then start?
Walk you through the steps, basically. So, essentially, what we would need to do is we would need to be able to provide, that funding is available for the project. From that funding, whoever's providing the funding, whether it be bonding or a bank note, of sorts, we would need to be able to provide, a payback or debt services. The debt services is where we would coordinate with the Public Service Commission on what we anticipate users to provide as a capital improvement fee or whatever we want to call it, to incorporate the, capital upgrades. We have a figure in mind on what it's gonna cost for the total project. Anywhere from 2.6 to 3.3 million, because we have a couple quotes out there. So you divide that out by the users, over the course of the note that we settle on, and then that would be the fee that we would have to incorporate, into the structure for the Public Service Commission. After that, we would obviously put a retainer on the contractor and order the equipment and everything else. Some of the equipment is between 14 and 18 weeks lead time. There's not a great sense of urgency in that because everything is taking a lot of time to get. So if we were to seal the deal and sign it tomorrow, we would still be months out of incorporating the new upgrades. So kind of why we needed to get these pumps up and running before that. So we still have to maintain what we have for the interim. Does that answer part of your questions?
So to put a finer, I have two questions. To put a finer point on just the funding piece of it, what is the timeline right now for that?
Well, it's a difficult question to answer because, to put it point blank, we've provided all documentation to Sullivan Funding Corp or Sullivan IDA for everything. We've provided that information, I want to say July-ish, Nick?
Correct.
We provided everything we needed to basically sign off on the note or the bond and get things going. Everything was moving along just fine. There was no question concerned whether or not we would qualify. It seemed like it was just a shoo-in. We just need this documentation. We're ready to release funds. Since then, it looks like IDA became more involved with a lot of other things. I mean, I don't want to put assumptions out there, but there was a lot that the IDA has worked on over Sullivan over the last several
And a slightly
months.
bigger deal going on?
It seems like maybe we got pushed to the back burner, and then in the interim, we had a lot of people that have connections working with the IDA that have reached out. We have not gotten information back from them. We've then learned that the bond counsel that was working with us is no longer working with the IDA and is working with a different legal partner. So there's a lot of intermediate roads. So I can say that we are exploring all options again, whether that pertains to a bank or the bond. We can't continue to, wait endless months and years now for a bond that should have already been signed some time ago. I don't think it's fair that the users continue to use the equipment and services that are
Just a follow-up to that, so then when is the time that you told the ripcord?
Well, we're hoping that this week we could have some information back from some reliable banking.
My other questions, either to you or Nick, is just for everyone, I kind of know, but an update on the Red House transaction.
So that's kind of why that hasn't happened. There's two reasons why the Red House. One is we're waiting on our legal partners to get that cement it out, and then we can share that with Public Service Commission. Once they sign off on it, we're good. But the other part is, if you don't have the bond settled, you don't know if you still require a loan. And do we have enough assets to cover the loan without the red house? So that's information we're hoping we're gonna have back this week, and then we can press on Scott, our counsel, to get that going. Because the goal would be to get that transaction completed as quickly as possible.
Just to follow up on your first question, so we are no longer. We may no longer be looking at alternative sources of funding. Other than a private loan.
No,
Currently,
we're looking at all.
we're looking at all sources. The main source we have been pursuing is bonding through the IDA.
Mm-hmm.
However, there still is an option for conventional funding through a bank, but we'll know better clarity this week. Which direction we're going.
So once the bonding process started. And I know it went awry at this point, right? It's not followed, it's not panned out, but are we ever looking at like the state revolving fund or anything like that?
The revolving loan fund that was state of New York.
Yeah.
No, we looked at USDA monies, not exactly the right fit for the program of what we're trying to do.
There's another reason why we wanted to go with the bonding route as well, too.
There's a
You get-
major implication in sales tax benefit.
Yeah, so you get the sales tax upfront. Ultimately, what we're looking at doing is still a capital improvement, so it should be tax free regardless. But when you go the bond route, you get that upfront. When you don't do that upfront, you have to go through all of, your tax records and everything like that at the end of the year. So we would get it back, but you'd still be paying it upfront. So we were trying to make sure that we got everything covered. And then obviously it would be great to roll into the bond, all of the legal services and everything else that went with and the engineering that went with it over the last 2 or 3 years, because our engineers have been working on this project for 3 years. So, I wanna say we're about between $80,000 and $100,000 in payments to engineers on getting everything. So we wanted to try and get all of that, covered through the bond.
I might get this terminology wrong. I know you've said it before without knowing, but, in the previous cycle of this, when we were taking out 1.7 million, I remember we did not have to provide guarantee, but now that we're at 3 and we may not get the bonding, would Emerald Green potentially be
We
responsible?
would not look to go that route.
Okay,
And there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't wanna do that.
Yeah,
So with the red house, when we originally talked that the red house would go and then knock out the debt that the water company owes the POA, is that still there? That's still.
That's what I was just talking about.
No, I understand that, but what point I wanted to make is that we've lent money, like we've paid interest on the construction loan. So I think a calculation needs to be done to figure out what the back interest is on that.
There is no back interest, Joel. The accountants went over this. If you
You've been
remember,
told
they told
several
us
times.
because we didn't book it, we can't now claim it. And
I didn't know that.
And you'd have to
yeah,
pay
there's an
capital
email
gains on
about
that.
this.
That's okay.
We can't, but we haven't.
But what I'm saying is that we lent money, we paid money on the construction loan.
Right, that,
It's cost us money, so we should wind up not just forgiving the debt, just accruing the debt on the books.
yeah, I think that the challenge is, and Ken, you can maybe give some insight on this. I think Kirsten weighed in on this.
Several
Maybe
times.
Ken will have an opinion. The problem is, since we haven't booked interest on those debts, to now claim interest or ask for interest on those debts could create a significant taxable event in reverse. For the POA, because it never asked for that interest and never showed it on the,
At least the loan.
Balance
sheet. When we did the loan, it was interest accrued, it was supposed to be interest accrued.
yeah, but it's not on the balance sheet.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Which means it was never memorialized. And second, you would still be required to make that case to the commission.
You can have capital gains either way.
Is the Public Service Commission aware of the interest you're asking for?
I don't,
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm saying for us, I think we're short of the homeowners.
Yeah, could I just ask for the cheap seats that are
The cheap one.
the cheap seats? Do you have? I think Patrick sort of asked this already, but do you have like a conservative estimate on when we'll actually break ground on this project?
If we can get the funding, if we get the funding today, or we got it within the next 30 days, we go through the permitting, because we would still need to go through the final approvals and update that. And then put the retainer on, the contractor we're going through. So what, probably 90 to 120 days? Sound accurate there?
On the in-plan improvements, yes. And then I think we would be in a position for the tank and the exterior work sometime in the spring. Keep in mind, the Public Service Commission has their 3 to 6 month approval of the permanent debt financing, but the in-plan improvements could be started as early as probably February at this point.
So we're having communication, with our banking institution. Nick has reached out. We weren't gonna, go this route or open the discussion until we kind of got some more cement answers from them, but we're having some, conversations and dialogue with our banking. And, we may have a better path forward, because as we discussed probably 100 times prior, the original 1.7, which was not a guaranteed, approval, was not gonna be anywhere near enough to cover the total project.
But just so I make sure I'm understanding, so the realistic estimate is that the heart of this project is not likely to begin until early 26.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of that pertains to availability of, equipment, so.
Materials.
We pricing a bond, like the bond from the vendor.
Did you?
I didn't hear.
The vendors will need a performance bond, yes.
And
We've already, they're 100% of that.
and just one more time, so once that project hopefully would begin in spring, what will be the timeline to completion of the actual construction?
I think we have 375 days on the engineer's report for the total.
Okay, so calendar year.
Yep.
All right, Alana, you want to
Just-
the last question?
Not even a question. I do agree that during this last boil notice, there's been more communication. Just what I've been hearing from homeowners, and just as a suggestion. Are we no longer using the text message alert system?
We did a text message alert to notify that the boil notice was in place.
Yes,
And then that we would continue with email notifications
Yeah.
after that.
yeah,
The problem with the text notification system is that you're limited because of certain rules. And I think it has to do with FTC rules that you can only send so many text messages in such a period of time. So we have to go back to the rent manager on that. Anthony Maneri, I think, is on the Zoom. He knows a little bit more about that because he spoke to rent manager the last time this came up.
yeah.
But there is a block of text that we can send in a certain amount of time.
Okay. I also think that just, it's helpful. I know it might feel like overkill, but I think people like the daily, like in the morning, like to wake up and say, here's my email.
Like the formal briefings.
You still don't have water, you know, like still boil your water. I think because then people get on and they're like, I don't know. And let me just say this. I know there was an email that's like 10 days or a message that's 10 days later, are we still boiling? You know, even though all the emails went out. I've just heard from people that said, I would just like to know, because I think people are navigating this for the first time or their second, you know, they just.
Yeah, because for 14 years, nobody sent a boil notice even.
Well, whatever the
prior.
case is, but I'm just saying, I think like a daily update in the morning just might be
Yeah, I got you.
helpful, just a suggestion.
So let me touch on that.
Okay.
So I had conversation with Nick. I'm sure people could probably guess that we talked a lot over the last week, but I had a conversation with Nick regarding the frequency of the notifications and everything else like that. We did not want to flood notifications out there because there was a lot of questions pertaining to who, what, where, when, and why, and a lot of it is when. And when we can't answer the when, it became a lot more difficult to have that conversation. There's there's several occurrences, if you go back through the requirements of a boil notice. If you have a loss of pressure, to the system, the reason why you have a boil advisory is because, as water starts to, as the water stops going through the mains and everything else like that, you have the ability to, develop bacteria into your pipes and everything else like that. I'm sure we could understand the logic behind that. But the issue is people are concerned like, well, now, over the period of X amount of years, we've never had boil advisories and now all of a sudden we've had two. I would wanna remind homeowners, and everybody within the water district that we follow the letter of the law to the T. Currently, I can't answer as to why there was not a boil advisory when those pumps went down last year, why there was loss of pressure a few months before that, why there was a loss of pressure to the system a few months before that. I can only say that we know, now that we're operating the water plant, we're following the letter of the law to the T. I could say that there has been occurrences over the last several years, where we reached that position where we should have had boil advisories that apparently, didn't happen. So I just want to say that we follow it to the T, and if you're getting a boil advisory, it's because we are following what the Department of Health tells us that we need to do. And we're not swaying from that, we're not hiding from it. There will be no question as to, well, there was this time window, there was this time window. No, it's the way it's going, and there will be no questions as to who, what, where, when, and why. That's what we're doing. So I'm not gonna answer as to why there wasn't boil advisories in the last 35 years, but there is now. So I'm gonna leave it at that because there seems to be a lot of confusion, and I've received 100 text messages, emails, calls, this and that, complaints, and I'm just advising people that we will not sway from the letter of the law.
So the daily warning notices can't.
The daily,
They can.
Okay, just that's.
we
To
can
the
get
extent
back,
practical.
we can get better with the frequency of communication, and I think that Nick is on board with that. He just, he does not like to put himself out there as to under commit on something, so.
Sure, I think it will help Valerie have not to field.
Oh, no, she'll still get the calls.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I think it could be helpful.
Sarah, you wanna-
Yeah, because I think we're in a time and age where, yeah, you get told everything. You get told if you have mail in your mailbox, you get told. I think people are in that vein of that. And I also, people were, hey, are we what? Are we, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday into that? I don't know.
Yeah, even if you tell them that we're doing the boil notice because of pressure
No,
loss.
and that's not the why.
Yeah,
It's still happening.
yeah.
Okay, it's Tuesday, it's still happening. And that way they just know because,
No, I agree. That's fine.
and I know we use the rent manager email list. Can it go to the full email list, not just the rent manager? Just make sure that we're always using that full informational one, because the amount of people that have spouses that don't talk to each other. And not in a bad way, but like, it goes to the rent manager email, and then if they didn't pay attention,
I
and the
have
wife is like, did
At
we
least
get?
from the POA side, Nick and I talked about that last week about using our MailJet account, which is like our constant contact, to send that out, because you're right, there's a broader notice on rent manager. Each member household can only have one email address associated, but our broader email list. But that's for the POA, I don't know.
Well, so that's the other
Yeah.
issue is the water company has a lot more, members than just the POA.
Yeah, I mean, we have to also get better at making sure we have correct emails and more emails. And there, just so you know, we go into, for instance, the MailJet. There are, there's only about 60% penetration to email, right? So only about 60% of the MailJet emails actually get to the customers or homeowners. So we have to kind of do a better job about that, and our residents need to accept those MailJet emails. But we try to use the rent manager emails because most folks open those or see those or get those, but we can do both,
Yeah, both would be good.
we just don't want people clicking on them and thinking they're spam and not getting any of them at all. That's the challenge, and that's why we try also when these things are going on to limit the other kinds of communications that go out about coat drives or things along those lines. So we try our best to make it, as accessible as possible. But yeah, we can do a more frequent briefing for folks and try to explain it as best we can and,
Sure.
Let them know.
I want to draw this to a close and open it up for homeowner.
I just want to circle back
Yep.
quickly on the invoice question related to Graylocks. One invoice in the string, so it was not a singular $7,000 invoice. They were a number of invoices on different dates, because what happened was they replaced the NVR, which is the drive that operates the cameras at the pool house, and the docks there. That one item did put us over the threshold. That ended up being a $3,175 item with tax. So that item should probably have come in, but they did not know that until they were there diagnosing it. There were some additional invoices on different dates that added up 2,376 on a separate date, 729 on another. And then the earlier invoice of $2,400 back in early August when they had replaced some cameras. So 4 total invoices of $86.80. One invoice of $15.93 was paid through the POA. That should have been paid through the water company, and that is sitting in the payables of the water company to reimburse the POA currently. So that explains the nexus of the difference of where it was.
Thank you for your.
So I hope that explains it better.
Thank you.
Yep, and I can, if you need copies of any of the invoices, I can bring.
I do appreciate some, we agree with those before we go on to
Their October financials too.
The actual financials will not.
Oh, okay, good point. Circling back to the October 2025 Treasury Report financials to be posted on the website.
Motion to approve.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Recusals, abstentions, hearing none. Thanks, good catch. That passes. Okay, homeowner and member comments and questions. We have a number of folks in the room, so if you want to just raise your hand, I'll recognize you. Also online, I see Marcy, you've raised your hand already, but let me just go around the room, the physical room. Anybody? Yeah. Hey.
Is it possible you go to this one?
Is it what?
Possible we could go to class in this one?
space issue.
So with this room's a little bigger, the only problem is we'd have to kind of relocate the furniture.
Any other question in the room? Mr. Tucker.
I'd like to remember first.
That's all right, go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Nick was flagging away.
Good morning, members.
Good morning.
Fellow homeowners. I need a little clarification, please, even though I'm here 41 years. What's the red house?
It is a house that the water EGLLM water company
Where is
owns next to El Sombrero.
It's the yellow.
Directly
house
across the
next to
street.
El Sombrero.
Oh. You should be trying to say a red house.
It's red and that's
I'm
where
looking
it's
for
like
the
real creative.
Good next. Okay. I'm here in a very happy mood, even though the honeymoon between me and you is almost at an end. What is the bottom line when these ABC posts that we're almost getting, if we find the money, but we don't have to wait for the IDA or anyone else to get those pumps running? Because I don't worry about the boil notice. I worry about buying Polish Spring just to make coffee every morning. And I, by the way, off the record, I'd like 17% off my water bill. Because that's how long I calculate I gotta let water run before it's clean enough to take a shower in. Forget eating and drinking. But I love you people, so I'm not there. Who is this man here?
That's our treasurer.
Ken Coder.
You said you had $800,000? But put some folks like me, don't worry about it. We don't need the Public Service Commission. I'm trying to make this as humorous as possible.
The bottom line with the pumps. A and B are running right now at 100%. We anticipate pump C, which has been decommissioned for the last several years, to be running this week.
So when can I expect what I used to have years ago?
You should be, I mean, everybody on your street right now is experiencing great pressure.
Right, it's only me.
Yeah, but he's about 8 feet higher than everybody else.
Yeah. The VFD pumps are the solution, but that are the capital project. Well,
Approximately.
We don't know because we have to get funding, we have to get the PSC commission on board with it. There is a lot of steps before.
how about we say under 7 months is the goal?
Under 7 months, okay.
It's gonna hold you to that.
I know.
Can, if necessary, could we do what the town of Fallsburg does? Bring in 4 or 5 tractor trailers a day of water because they can't distribute the water either.
That- no.
They don't have clean water. We have clean water.
We don't have enough
If you
water.
get the water,
They don't
it
have
ain't
water.
the same. I really like you, Nick.
Mr. Tucker, you know, I represent several retired New York Yankees. I think I could get you a contract to do some comedy. If you're willing, I'll waive my fee.
Hey, Rickles is gone, I'm the only thing you guys have.
If you're willing to give, I'll give up my fee. You give 25% to the water company for the improvements. We'll get the 3 million real fast.
The only member of this board who knows what I go through is this Leslie, because I have to answer to somebody also, I believe. And you don't wanna have to answer to her, do you?
No.
Thank you. I'm sorry I took so much time, so I'm gonna tell her, you said in 7 months we'll have water pressure, but maybe sooner.
Yeah.
But you only have 3 months left, Mr. Tucker.
9 months ago.
Love you, Mr. T.
Yeah, but I've been taking vitamins, so it looks better. Don't tell her what I said here today.
All right, thank you, guys. Yes, sir.
So, this is all like somewhat new to me. I'm a newer homeowner, but I used to live in a place called Hidden Ridge, where we had a major water problem, and I went through all of this as a resident, board member, treasurer, whatever. So I kind of understand where we're going with it, but I was really struck by your accounting fees. I mean, I was like, how did we get to a position where we had that kind of fee structure for, I mean, I know we have more homeowners and all that, but we had in Hidden Ridge. But all of our land was common ground, virtually you put your hand out the window and it's common ground. Virtually everything was covered by the homeowners association, except for even things on the outside of the house, like the roof, and like the roof of your house and things like that. So I was just wondering, how much accounting do you guys do? You know, how many employees do we have? I'm not like unfamiliar with all of that. It just seems like you do.
See, no, I don't mind.
Did you all use an accountant in Hidden Ridge?
We did, and then we switched to a management company that did the accounting for us, and we just had to make an audit fee after that.
So prior to Nick, we had a property manager and an assistant property manager who are meant to take on those functions, sort of like management company you would expect, but I'll just say I don't think they relied on the accountants a lot, clearly, right? That's what the bills are. That's the best we can discern from that. I think we're cleaning that up now, and especially with Ken's help. Ken is a CPA. He's able to, he's not gonna practice for us or anything, but he's able to really hone in most of that in-house stuff and tell us where, and he, by the way, specifically worked on accounts for homeowners associations. So I think we'll see a big improvement on that. How it got to that point,
The other part to that is, a lot of what we're asking the accountants to do is redundant. It's already done in-house, and then the accountant signing off on it, and then we're still reviewing it, and then we're reviewing it to the homeowners at the monthly meeting, and then we're asking the accountant to do X, Y, Z, and then move money here, move money, so.
Do the accountants pay the bills, like, do you have them like sending the checks or?
No, we do that internally, and the other thing was, is that, and as to Patrick's point, a lot of the prior team was relying heavily on the accounting firm for just really kind of day-to-day stuff.
yeah, bookkeeping was supposed to have been done in-house. It seems that even that was like
Yeah.
redundantly checked then by the
I mean,
accountant.
my background is in property management. Prior to that, I was the elected supervisor of a town, so I was the chief fiscal officer of a town, so this is pretty simple stuff that kind of we're doing here these days, so with Ken and I now kind of working as a team, we're kind of plugging through and cleaning up a lot of that, and
So my follow-up question would be that is like, what kind of a savings annually do you feel you will see from these changes?
I mean, Ken, I don't wanna project, here, but I'm thinking we probably will slash the accounting budget in half, but I mean, that's probably my estimate.
Yeah,
At least,
and have,
especially on the auditing side.
Keep in
Yeah,
mind the
definitely
water
in half.
company piece as well.
Yeah, and I do the process for the water company as well. Ken is not our treasurer at the water company, but I know he's definitely a pair of eyes to help us as well there. He's volunteered to do that, so.
yep.
Any other questions?
I just wanna make a comment, having been here probably not as long as my friend over there, but a couple of years less. All of these fees came about from prior
Management.
members, management and so forth, that all precipitated when we had the pool, not the pool, the dam, when we were doing the dam. Nobody trusted anybody. An example, we're talking about just how many thousands of dollars you can lose. We had 3 engineering firms to do the dam. We had 3 different management people in here doing it, and we wound up taking the original one, so it only cost us about 900,000 more to do the dam. Was we took the original plans when we started it, but this was kind of chaotic back then. Nobody trusted anybody and so forth. This is a whole different ball of wax. Like I said to Dan, the only thing that I concern myself with, having served on a water company, yes, we've had problems with those that we relied on management we had in that firm. Dan is more of a hands-on guy. God bless him. Where he gets the time to do that, I don't know, with his family and working. But he has done a great job as far as I'm concerned, but my only concern is, having been in the finance business, is everybody saw what the bonding attorneys received in fees and legal fees for what's going proposed that was pulled back from the casino. But I also relate that I've done a lot of bonding and so forth for municipalities over the years in the bank and that, and fees can really hit you. And most recent one that comes to light is when we did the college, we had a bonding fee on a $7 million project, was $275,000 for bonding attorneys, not the regular attorneys that represented the help. So the only thing I say is, you gotta look and ask what those bonding fees are gonna be, so you know what it's gonna be.
As I said, I believe it was either 1%, but it may have been between 1% and 3%, is what we were looking at, when we were talking to David.
1 or 3%, big difference on
Yeah.
$3 million bucks.
But we didn't get to that, we never actually memorialized that or got to that point, so.
But I'm just saying, it's still enough, even at $2 million.
Yeah, you gotta consider that, when you're looking at the interest rate, right?
Yeah.
Good advice. Want to go online and recognize Marcy and then Donna.
Thank you. And I have a couple of questions that have been given to me by other homeowners who can't be on this call. So I'll just ask and make some comments. One is that the laws that are coming up that we'll learn more about for pesticides and insecticides and things like that. My suggestion is that we meaning the board, ask people to read the document that's sent out, to sign an agreement that they understand and agree to comply with it. And there should be either a very serious fine or deactivating cards or something to ensure compliance. And I think without that, people will say it went to spam, I didn't see it, my cat erased it or something. So I think we need to be very proactive on that. I also want to point out that.
Marcy, hang on, rather than rapid fire, let me just quickly address that. That's that advice, that notice will be coming from a water company, not the POA. So there's gonna be no deactivating of cards, no asking people to sign forms. It's the water company's
right.
deal, they'll deal with it. Okay, next question.
Yeah, no, that makes good sense. Just to add that there are over 70 drains that pour directly into our lake. Some of them are from people's gutters, but many of them are from roadways. They're local roadways. They are also from Route 17, where all of the salt, the ice and snow treatment, any, diesel leaks or anything that goes onto Route 17 drains directly into our lake. So I would think that that would make us subject to some very serious concerns and maybe fines from the PSC. So I hope there's a way that that can be addressed. So anyone want to comment?
Yeah. Great points, Marcy. All of that is addressed in the notification that will be going out to all homeowners and users in the water district. More specifically, that's covered in section 6 of the notice that you'll see. It says the Lake Louise Marine Water Company shall make regular and thorough inspections of the reservoir, water courses, and watershed to ascertain whether these rules and regulations are being complied with. There's a lot more that goes on to that, but I'm not gonna sit here and read all of that, but essentially, the concerns that you have, regarding water runoff or, highway runoff would be addressed in an inspection report, which is why my position is we need to get a notification out to, everybody within these communities right away, because we will have to complete our inspection report and supply that to the Department of Health in January. So we have a time window now that we have to get this all completed. So that's why I've been working with a little bit of partnership, and thank you for Patrick for chiming in on support there, and then with our legal team on getting this notice out. So you will see it. Hopefully it won't go to the spam mail or anything else like that, but we will be sending it out on Thursday.
Great. No, I appreciate that. And I don't know if there's a way because some of the roads are town roads and of course 17 is a state road. So if there are any filters or anything that can be done to mitigate the toxins that are flowing in on a steady
We will
basis.
have a duty to report anything that is out of compliance to the Department of Health, whether that's a state or local municipality causing that. It's not our concern. We will have a duty to report it, and the Department of Health will weigh in on what the penalties look like from there.
Great. Thank you for that. So a number of people have mentioned the Red House. Can somebody just give a concise explanation of what the status is of the Red House?
The status is that it is unoccupied. It was previously occupied by the I'm not sure what his title was, but by Anthony Freeman.
Plant operator.
The operator, thank you, for the EGLLM Water Company. And just for folks, again, it's right across the street from the water plant. The thinking there was that he rented the house at a discount in order to be nearby when things, sort of happen. That was the thinking then. The modeling for our operators with the water company has shifted and I think improved. And Anthony's no longer there, he's no longer with the company, so the house is vacant. And the status is that the water company is looking to transfer that to EGPOA in satisfaction of a debt that the water company owes the POA. The POA will then sell that house. We will first deed restrict it into the POA so that it can't be developed on. And we'll realize the receipts from our loan.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. That is great. I heard, and maybe I misheard, that there's $800,000 for asphalt. Can somebody talk about that, please?
No, Ken said we have monies reserved, including which some of that money can be utilized for the asphalt that needs to be completed at some point in the future here at the POA. It's not $800,000 specifically for asphalt.
Good, thank you for that. Who is our current accounting firm?
RBT.
RBT, okay, know them well. And then, talking about the new rules for the fitness center, saying 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds with parental supervision, I'm wondering about guest policies. Can 13 and 14-year-olds bring 3 and 4 of their closest friends each? Because how would that impact?
No.
No, they can't. It's just them. Okay, that's a good one.
13 and 14-year-olds have to have parental supervision in the gym.
Okay, so they can't bring other 13 and 14-year-old guests.
When we're saying the gym, we're talking about the
Fitness
fitness center.
Yeah,
Correct.
in the gym. Okay.
Not the
Not the
basketball.
basketball court, the
Yeah.
fitness center itself.
They can bring their friends and play basketball.
All right. So the yoga, I go to most of the classes. Not everybody signs the list, but I do a head count, and there are easily 25 to 30 people in each class. So I'm not sure what space we have other than that one, but it seems to me that if yoga is at 10 in the morning, it's done by 11. If somebody has a party, it's quite reasonable to say, you can come in and set up by, starting at 11:15. And I don't see how, that would be a problem. And, I don't know that people who want to rent it should have just absolute total free reign of anytime, anywhere, anything they want to do. There are available times and unavailable times. I don't see it as reasonable to do in the gym, well, in the entertainium on the main floor. There's a lot of people walking through back and forth to the gym. That's very disruptive. If people go upstairs to the track and talk, sound carries really well. So I feel like that is the only viable place, and it is such a great amenity. It's so well attended that I would request that it not be, changed and that people just work around it. Using the upstairs of the pool house for private parties, I worked at an agency where I advised businesses about ADA requirements. I did the library in Mamakating and library in Monticello. I don't know, it seems to be sort of a fuzzy line because it is a public space in effect, but it's a private party, whether that would violate the law, but something to look into. And I just can't imagine people carrying those big party tables up and down the stairs and the tables and the, jugs of stuff. It just seems like it would be not too wise to do that.
It's a rental agreement.
Yeah.
So they're.
We specifically provided for it in the agreement, Marcy. Just so you know. Yep.
What's the latest on the roof on the entertainment?
Okay, and what is the status about the roof on the entertainment?
It's completed.
Oh,
Has been.
It's
wow,
been for a couple months.
cool.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I think we're good. Other than I just want to second the request that Alana made, and she heard from a lot of people, and so did I, about daily notification, because I don't think people need more than just we're still on boil water. We'll let you know when there's an update. And I think that satisfies a lot for people. And it would calm some of the unrest and the rumors and all that stuff that goes on. So that's it. So thank you.
Thank you, Marcy and Brad. Donna?
Actually, Marcy covered something of what I wanted to say. We are a nonprofit organization, I believe, and our main goal is to give good amenities to our members. And in the summer, it's easily 35 or 40 people at yoga. And it's not just a class, people kind of meet each other and talk, etc. I think that worrying about income from parties is secondary to an important amenity to the community. And if there is available time when they can use it, fine. But I don't think we should start thinking about changing yoga to because we want to make some money on party rentals. That's my thought. And as Marcy said, a lot of people don't sign, but there is a great usage, especially in the warmer months of yoga class. And we pay, should move it till 8 in the morning. That's not fair. And we do pay for it. We pay for it in our dues. So it's just like going to the pool, actually, as far as I'm concerned. So that's my statement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions, comments, online or in the room?
We never went over our committees.
No, I know, we're coming.
Oh, we're
back to
coming
that.
back, okay,
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
because I know there'll be a lot of questions for the water
Okay,
pressure, so I
thank
want to
you.
wrap that all in at the same time. All right, thanks everybody for your question and comments. We're gonna go on in our agenda, which will remain very short because the Lakes Committee, our committee reports are now, the Lakes Committee's already gone. There's no meeting of the Bylaws Committee. Ken, I don't think the Finance Committee met, right?
No, no.
Okay, that leaves Buildings and Grounds and Events.
Okay, Buildings and Grounds met on the 10th. We had 6 people attend that meeting. The main crux of that meeting was we were talking about developing preventative maintenance schedules. We currently don't have them at all. They don't exist as a program. And instead of kind of going the route of having homeowners call and complain about things, we think this is a much more proactive approach, and I think speaks to the 2004 report or study that you're doing with the engineer right now. So what we decided at the meeting was one of our members, Anthony Iannuzzi, whose background is in this facility management, he is going to, Nick was, I think you were unavailable this coming week. So Maneri is going to walk around with him in each of the kind of all of our buildings and grounds facilities, and they are going to take a look at code compliance. They're going to do a massive inspection, capital assessment, replacement, maintenance procedures, kind of from the small to the big. And write up a plan that then is going to come back to the committee that we will review. I am going to reach out to our other committee members who are not at the meeting, that if they want to, for anybody who's on right now, because my path opens up most of the buildings, that if anybody wants to kind of add to this, then Anthony and Maneri, I know we have a lot of Anthonys. Anthony, Maneri, and I talked already offline, and we will compile kind of our findings to then present to the board in terms of a maintenance schedule that we think should be adhered to. I think this will also help and clarify some of the things that came up during the budget, you know, as we transition to in-house things, how we're evaluating that. And we plan on kind of doing this on an ongoing basis. Some of the open discussion that happened was, as Ken noted, he wanted to know if this was in replacement of the engineering asset or the engineering plan that was being looked into. I think they speak to each other, and there wasn't this was not going to, I think, be in replacement of that, but we'll see how comprehensive we can get in our reporting. Nick brought to us a proposal for putting up the ice rink again. He said Eddie, who is our new, I don't know how to refer him, compliance grounds, because he does kind of a bunch of things.
Compliance and security.
Universal ed.
Yeah,
Universal ed.
he wanted to maintain it. He gave us a cost of about $1,500. We left it, we did not bring this up for a motion today because we asked Nick, and the same thing because we brought it up in events committee as well. We had a lot of insurance liability and security concerns because it would not be gated off. And so Nick said he would talk to our insurance provider to see if there was any issues before actually reviewing the proposal. I don't think this came up in the management report, but we asked about the compost gate. Did you get the other bid?
Not yet.
Okay, so the other bid was supposed to come at the end of the week. We were going to review that, but that's not happening. So you believe now that the fall start would possibly be delayed?
Till spring, unless we get the bid quickly and we don't have frost between now and the December meeting, so. But if it's, I guess I'll ask this, if it's below or at the bid of the prior bid, then I should not need approval from the board to come back, correct?
Well,
We had
authorization
previously-
to spend, we already did that, I think.
Well, but this goes back to, was the authorization for the vendor or for the amount?
Do you ever recall kind of what that was?
I believe that, and I know I'm usually pretty good with this, but I believe we authorized a dollar amount for the spend on the gate.
Just want to be sure, because we just stood them up on the tractor, but then the item and not.
And I wanna, what Ken is hinting on is a reserve replacement report.
Yes.
So, that is kind of something we still have, an existing one that still has a couple of years left on its term, but we were looking to maybe get another one.
Yes, would we ever get the first one? We were
Yeah,
supposed to
Nick
get
sent it out.
We did, okay,
First 2000.
we were supposed to send that to Anthony.
And it was pretty accurate, I mean, that was pretty accurate, so, great to see, but,
It was with the firm. I would tend to think that, so it's the motion as I have it recorded in the approval minutes was. Nick proposed to install a security gate from Ketchum for 11,180. Some discussion of fees. And that was the approved motion. So the motion did have the
vendor attached.
Yes. I think given the attention that was given to kind of the bid process during the last election cycle, I think it would make sense for us to authorize a specific bid rather than authorize a dollar amount. That's just my hot take.
But the other part is, it creates a little bit of confusion because Ketchum is already an existing vendor that we utilize for fencing and other things, like for instance, the
Green up.
yeah, so that was that, and then they did the repairs at the boat launch. They did that. I think they did the initial install. So they've been the vendor to go with, so I don't know that we're going around the bidding process if they're already the vendors.
I'll say, I think that the board should approve a bid from a specific vendor, and I'm happy to do that by email or do it by a special meeting, but I think that we should get in the habit of approving specific bids just as a good practice. That's not opposition, I'm happy to do it.
I don't know one way or the other. I'm just saying, I think I could see both sides because they're already,
I don't think it's gonna be Ketchum, is it? Right, Mike? Is
What's that?
Is it?
It's not gonna be Ketchum. Ketchum, what happened was, just so we're back to this, Ketchum gave us a proposal. We agreed to it and voted on it. We gave Ketchum a deposit. After we gave Ketchum a deposit, Ketchum came back to us and said, we forgot something in our proposal. Your price is going to now be $3,500 higher.
Right.
So we said, no, you gave us a proposal, we gave you a deposit, we're not agreeing to that. So now we went out to other providers.
Right.
For a number because,
Did we get our deposit back?
yes, we got our deposit back. So that's why we're trying to get a proposal either equal to that or less.
Okay,
So,
Last thing, because this actually came up in.
so my question was if, I'm sorry, Lana, to
Go ahead.
my question was if we get a proposal that's either equal to that or less, do I have authorization to award that proposal? Because my question to Chris was, we didn't want to get into a situation that we had with the tractor where you had specifically authorized a tractor.
and I think the answer is no,
Right.
but you need to come back with it.
Okay.
We'll-
Fair enough.
So in terms of the bid process, we kind of shuffled around this concept, because I needed clarification in terms of committee oversight on this. So we were talking about bid process.
Yeah.
Within our committee, so. Nick offered this suggestion, I just want to see if the board kind of agreed with it, which was. Management indicated a preference for our committee, that our committee would identify need for things and possible vendors, and then. Management would obtain bids, and then where those bids went was up to a timing issue, I guess. You said, right, like it would, whether it came back to our committee initially for an initial review or directly to the board.
Right.
Right. That's I don't know if we had, because this is a new committee, so I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page about. Our preference for committee to review.
Especially in light of the fact that item 3 did not.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking, yeah.
Item 3.
Oh, spending thresholds.
Spending
Yes.
thresholds.
Yeah, so our proposed amendment to move towards sealed bid to blind bidding didn't pass, so.
Perhaps we could have done it, we could have broken them up into all kinds of amendments, but that would have been.
I don't know, it would have been a 15 ballot questions. I thought about that. So you're looking for guidance on,
A philosophy about where the committee starts and ends versus the board starting and ending in terms of bidding and vendor like approvals and things like that.
yeah,
Does it have to go back to you?
I wouldn't know.
Well, that's why we're.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't overthink it, I think it's fine if the committee takes.
The committee's recommended board's approve.
Yeah,
So then bid should come back to the committee.
I think that's right,
Okay.
I think that's right, and, I mean, obviously then the question will come up at the board level, well, what were the other bids?
Right.
And
Okay.
have the opportunity.
Again, I think it's, again, based on like what that item is, if it's an emergency item versus.
True, that's totally different,
Right.
right?
I think that was the conversation we had.
Yeah.
We're talking about a playground that we're planning for versus.
But I'm like, let's use the vendor for this. We
Right.
see the bids, we bring the recommendation back.
Sure.
I think on the front end too, this came up a little bit with the back and forth on the fertilizer. That, you know, there may be some space for board guidance around the scope.
Yes.
The scope, scoping of projects, like, we don't need to rehash the debate over the fertilizer. But basically, the board's giving advice that we want a playground, don't come back for the amusement park.
Yeah,
Like,
got it. No, I get
And
it.
same thing like on the gate here, right? We've already approved the gate, we know what kind of gate we want.
Yes.
This one can
Go.
come right to the board.
Right, it's a good question on the philosophy.
Yes.
And then just for anybody else who's interested, we've set a standard time, monthly time for the second Mondays of every month will be our building and grounds meeting. So if anybody's interested in attending, they're usually at 7 o'clock. Is
So what they have?
the second Monday of every month.
7 o'clock, you said?
7 o'clock. Yeah.
Dan?
To that committee, we're utilizing Anthony and others to go around and make that, analysis. Would it be feasible to ask the Building and Grounds Committee to come up with an annual inspection report? A formal report, and then that be the report that we utilize, for the following year, maybe capital needs or.
Yes, that was the intent of,
But I'm saying
Yes.
one specific report and broken down by building or property type. So that way they can walk those items, check for roof, check various things, and then, we know where we stand each year, because that would probably formalize the process.
And maybe produce that sort
Yes.
of August-ish, because
it will speak to the budget.
That's-
Yes, that's what our hope is, that this document helps plan
forms the operating budget.
and provides
Because
the,
we did ask, I know I asked for a formal daily and weekly checklist
Mhm.
prior for the
Yes.
buildings. And I know that we have utilized that in the past, and that should be used as a tool to get you to the annual inspection.
Mhm. And that will also speak to some of the concern of when we, in the budget season, when we're bringing things in-house, people said, how are we gonna evaluate that? Then we can better evaluate the vendors that we're using and the staff and how we're utilizing
Yeah,
them.
we're not throwing darts in.
No,
Okay, anything else, buildings and grounds? Okay, anything on events?
yes,
Okay.
okay, we had a meeting on the 12th. 6 people attended that meeting. We have 2 December events coming up. Saturday, December 13th from 4 to 6 p.m. We're gonna be doing the gingerbread house making event again, like we did last year. There is gonna be a sign up required. There are snacks, prizes. It's a very family friendly event. Very much enjoyed by all. Then we are doing another winter potluck, Saturday, December 20th. There will be live music, just because Linda's here, the band that we looked at did not come through, so we're looking at our second option. So there will be live music, a potluck setup with Sherry's has the sign up, and we will be sending out within the next week or so. We don't have to put too much. Moving forward, we thought, and Nick, I will go offline with you a little bit on this, but since there's a lot of coordination, we have more of a robust committee now with Linda and Sherry helping a lot, in addition to Chris and I, that we're gonna create an events checklist.
Cool.
That we can streamline a lot of the 4 to 6 weeks lead up things, so that we can also, we're not kind of double connecting with you sometimes, so I think that will be helpful, and we'll let you have eyes on that as well. That was something that we came up with. We also talked about our end of the year closeout as we looked at our budget. Just so everybody knows, Chris and I usually, along with the office staff, will reach out to our fitness instructor and ask for equipment needs that need to be repurchased. We've also purchased the entertainium equipment, like your shuffleboards, and we usually kind of re-up that every year.
Basketballs, I know we need some.
Correct, yeah.
basketballs.
Do we have like a top line number estimate on that, like $2,500?
For in the previous years, what we've spent, or what we're looking to spend? What do we have left in the budget, you mean?
You know, like what the total dollar figure for all of those kind of refresh needs.
We still have to reach out to our vendors in order to have an understanding of what they're looking for. I
What
don't
is
have
it that we need
that.
to refresh?
It would be so like Dan, like it would be basically what we call consumables. So like yoga mats, water aerobic stuff, the shuffleboard equipment gets kind of worn, broken. Like the
New
medicine
bat
balls, in the
balls.
fitness center, all of that stuff kind of gets funded out of the activities budget, and then just as they kind of wear and tear, we've been in the habit of using the activities budget to replace those things.
We'll probably also be looking to set up a meeting with management. There were some items that we would like to, hold on. The pool table. That was an allocated budget line item within events. Is that being purchased? Events committee weighed in on that. They think a pool table that's movable might be a better option, but I know we approved that already as a board. What is the plan? Is there a plan? And are those monies being spent this year?
They're still
There, I know it's like,
there. We
yeah,
haven't purchased it yet, because we haven't really found a good home.
Yeah.
For it yet, and I know Dan wants a pool table,
Yep.
so.
Thanks, Lon.
well, just here's the thing that I wanna bring it up, because we're talking about space, and this is why I wanna maybe pause. I know we agreed on it as a board. As you're finding space for yoga to go to, one of the spaces that we've utilized is that second story in the West Wing. In the summertime, we've utilized that space for trivia nights.
Yeah.
So we're finding more reasons to use the space here that we had.
I'd like to make the second floor a library, honestly.
Well, there was the bookshelf update too, so maybe we were thinking of flex space. We don't have it defined, but
I really like the idea of the pool table being downstairs originally. But I think that there was some members here that didn't like that idea because of glass.
Because of
glass.
The windows.
So I guess here's the thing, there's a pocket of money, there's a discussion, can we loop it up? into
Alex
the-
wants a golf simulator.
Yes, I know, everybody wants things.
I think the question is what space it's gonna make it this, whatever space it's in, it's gonna make it much less flexible. So which space are we gonna?
The downstairs, it makes the most sense, because that's the space used for those type of informal gatherings and activities and more universal.
Ever tried to move a pool table?
Yes.
Well, that's what she's saying is, if that's the route we're going, that might dictate the type of pool table we buy,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I'm
Or
asking because it hasn't been purchased, it's an allocated amount for this year, it's sitting in the events budget, we wanna be able to utilize the monies if we need to, but if the space issues are kind of
Do you wanna
coming
get
up.
together?
Yes, I would really like to discuss that.
And it's a Fisher company.
Yeah,
I want the pool table done, I've been asking for.
Let's get together after.
you can have mine. Cool.
I'd like to, I'd really like
If
to,
you
I'd
want.
really like
I'll
to
give you
talk
the
about
garage.
the second floor with you.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to make that like a media center library area, because I think that's the best use for that space in our overall planning.
Okay,
But we could talk more about that pool table and just the kind of future.
But if there becomes a space limitation for yoga too, I mean, maybe we do create an area designated inside the entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know, we're not gonna put fencing up, but like a corridor area that's for yoga purposes in these times of this. And it may interfere with pickleball, it may interfere with basketball, it may interfere with one or the other, but I mean, we can't have, not everybody's gonna win every time, so.
I understand, but I think it's, the respectful conversation here is this, I don't try to weigh in on the fitness center conversations, because I don't utilize it and I don't pretend I know what I don't know. I think the people who take the yoga classes, there's a huge group of them and they do utilize it as an amenity. And it's, if you think about it, if you have 40 rentals a year, that's 40 homeowners, okay? 40 people use the yoga amenity on a given weekend in the summer. It's the same amount of people who are utilizing these things that we are offering the community, and we want to be robust in what we can offer.
I'm just
So-
saying, not even changed completely.
Mhm.
I'm saying, if we know that the rental days are, of the clubhouse are at their peak Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays,
Mhm.
then during those days, either yoga is early or yoga is in a different location, maybe over here. And then every other day you can use the clubhouse just the same. That way you still have the availability.
We can, listen, I think this is everything can be solved here. I just think we need to talk about space, and the pool table comes as an overlapping issue. with
And
space.
don't think I forgot about that.
Okay, know you have, that's why I brought it up. Okay, there is gonna be a larger survey that's gonna go out in the new year regarding, community interest of specific, events like the talent show that we've been talking about and timing. We've committed to establishing the summer event schedule by April and May to have it set and done so that people know and can plan. That was asked. And I just bring this up again, the ice rink was also brought up to the events and liability security, and all those things needed to be addressed before we flush it out and talk about it, because those were questions we had. And that's it for now. Oh, wait, we have a standing meeting time now too. We are the first Wednesday of every month.
Leslie and Joel.
Okay, I'm gonna put another hat on as the Rock Hill Business Association president. We have a tree lighting at 5 o'clock, December 7th. And we have the menorah lighting at 5:45, December 17th.
December 17th.
Awesome. Joel.
So the ice rink has come up in the past, and I think one of the issues was that maintaining the ice rink was very hard without having a structure to cover it. And that was that whole barn.
We addressed I brought all these up with Nick.
That's all. I just wanted to.
We brought up the liner, the melting, we did all that.
And I think the kids have used the lake. Wow, it's one lake recess, so.
Okay. Any other questions for Lana? Okay, hearing none. Our next meeting is December 21st. It was a Sunday, obviously at 9 a.m. Same place and usual. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Entertain a motion for executive session. Board members, just quick things to go over.
Motion to executive.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? That motion passes. All right. So give members, folks online, if you would log out now, we're going to go into executive session of the board. I'll give you a minute or so to do that. Thank you. We do. It'll be quick.
Leslie, how is the rock business stuff going?
No recording.
It's going good, you know, we need participation, we need a secretary. You wanna be a secretary?
Well, no, it's funny, I think I